at that emotion.
Around the outside. It's time to bring the action.
Welcome to SMX Insider. I'm Jason Weigandt. He is Daniel Blair. So much to dissect. Monster Energy AMA Supercross and the SuperMotocross World Championship of Tampa. Daniel, we were both there. We were both part of the TV broadcast, and it was good to the very last drop.
In both classes, too. That 250 main event, Hunter Lawrence. I mean, I'm not even thinking it's possible. I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be really cute how close he gets. And then he does it. And I'm telling you what, that slide into the corner, that's one of the raddest slides I've ever seen. And then he just catches, hooks right, makes the pass, just clutch moment. And then the 450, Webb's just got us just on the edge of the seat, wondering, is he going to get to him? He does, then he doesn't, then he does. And then Chase says, you know what? Here, buddy, you just take this thing. And I was left hanging to the last second of both those mains. It was incredible.
Yeah, when you get a hungry Cooper Webb back there at second late in the race, you kind of know something is going to happen. And it leads us with this 3 different winners this year with Eli Tomac, Sexton, and Webb. And usually after 5 rounds, we kind of know where the series is going. With Webb back in this group of winners, I think we're less sure now than we were earlier in the year.
I'm more confused right now than I've been at any point this year. And it's awesome. It's the twists and turns of the story, right? If Supercross was Breaking Bad or Yellowstone, the next episode, I'm completely left hanging. I don't know. Is that really what we're going to see from Webb? Because Houston didn't look like that. Is that really what we're going to see from Tomac? I mean, what was that? And then Chase Sexton, I mean, the drama that he is putting himself and all of us through with these late race, either the wall that he hits or a bad line choice or a crash in the whoops. I'm really left hanging from Tampa, and I just want to get to Oakland as fast as possible so I can know what's going to happen next. It's that type of year, and I'm here for it.
It does feel like a TV show, and I almost want to apologize in advance to Chase Sexton and say, hey, man, your role in this drama is to be the guy that has the almost moment that goes bad. I'm sorry, that's the role you've been cast in. Now, if he was an actor, that's not the real him, it'd be fine. But for him, it feels real because it is real. So if you watch the TV show and you see what Sexton says on the podium, essentially saying, I lost another one, but it's okay. I'm so close. I'm right there. I can't be too upset about it. That's what he said, and that's the way he looked. So what is the real Chase Sexton? Devastated or I'm good? I'm 2 points out.
Honestly, what he should be, I don't know what he is, but what he should be is both. He should be devastated because honestly, he could have won 4 of the first 5 races. He could have won Anaheim 1. He could have won Houston. He could have won Tampa, but he didn't. So he should be devastated. But at the same time, he's saying all the right things because they are the right things. He's really close. I mean, he is one box checked away from figuring this thing out. And when he does, I think they're in big trouble. So he should be devastated and very encouraged by what he's done. It's been a great start, but the problem is Eli Tomac is still Eli Tomac. And all of a sudden, Cooper Webb is Cooper Webb. And that's good for all of us and probably pretty bad for Chase Sexton.
Welcome to our big interview. This is awesome. We actually had this guy on hand at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa because he's a huge motocross, supercross fan, as a lot of people probably know. Vanilla Ice, Robbie Van Winkle, welcome to the show. And just tell us from your perspective, you were all over the building on Saturday. What did you see on Saturday night?
I saw everything from every perspective and every angle. And I got all the action, man. And I got to smell it down on the field. Went up into the press box and hung out with Chad Reed and his family. And I went down with my friends and, got to, smell some nachos and popcorn and exhaust fumes. I loved it. What a great race. What an awesome race, man. And, Hunter Lawrence, oh my God.
Last turn.
That 250 race, incredible, come from behind, just last minute, whoa. And
what's cool is you mentioned Hunter Lawrence. You're pretty diversified now. First of all, we knew you from the music scene, but you got the Vanilla Ice project on TV. I know you said you're building a brewery. You're pretty diverse with the things you're doing. You have to be impressed with these young kids moving up like Hayden Deegan, the Lawrence brothers. They're pretty diverse in how they're popular. They're great racers, but you got to respect what they're doing off the track to kind of boost the sport also.
Well, everything today is much different than it was back in the 80s, 90s when I was riding. It was, we didn't have any computers, It was all about, just getting out of the house and not really having that element of, spreading all the butter for who you are and what you are, and getting social media following and all this, these fans and things. You just had to earn it back in the day from the track and the name on the back of your jersey. Most people didn't even know what you looked like unless you're, top 3.
Yeah,
hard to find out what you look like with a helmet on. Now, everybody, they've got all these social media things, and they're bringing in all the other countries. And by the way, I love how the new format is with all the new Supercross thing, and it makes it really good for the spectators. Like I was saying, we watch, Supercross right here in the theater, as you can see. This is our main thing to do here.
That's awesome.
Saturday nights, man. So look, I mean,
oh, it's rad.
I can't get enough of it, and here we are, I guess.
Oh, there's one right there.
But totally addicted, and you guys do such a great job out there. Everybody and Daniel and the whole team of behind the scene people really just getting better and better every year with the way a spectator gets to view Supercross. It's really, really a lot of fun.
Hey, so where are you watching those final laps? You got Cooper Webb bearing down on Chase Sexton. Everybody knows this is where Webb's really good. This is where Sexton hasn't quite been able to seal the deal. So everybody kind of is watching this building crescendo. Where were you watching that from, and what was your reaction at those last couple of minutes, which were pretty exciting?
So I started the race up in the stands, and I made my way down to the finish line so I could smell more, and I watched it actually sitting right there up on the podium. So I got to stand on the podium because it's about, probably 10, 15 feet higher than the floor. So I could see over the berm, and I get to watch that gnarly sand section, man. And I get a cool view of it because you could see the bikes, just how hard they were struggling with it. And there was no way you could, choose a rut. It just chose you, and you could see the rut. It's like you just got to pin it and hope for the best. And I could see the top guys coming through there. They didn't take the same rut every time. It was just whichever rut popped up in front of them, And it was pretty cool to watch, how that was a challenge for a lot of people. But I watched the whole race. What a great race, man. Woo! But I walked over here because I wanted to show you a little motor love. I hope my camera doesn't lose.
So far, so good. Oh, we got it all. We got classic car collection. There it is. The motocross section. So that's the exact bike you raced, or that's just like a bike you raced in 85?
God, I wish it was the exact bike.
Yeah.
Scott Burnworth got me this bike, actually.
That's rad. Yep.
And Mitch Payton brought it to me from California. I bought this in California, so it was already restored, And
so Mitch helped put that together.
So it's the same one I actually rode back in the day, right there.
Yeah. What's the butt patch there? What's the nickname on the back?
Sweetness. Man, I was Sweetness before Dr. Pepper. Look at
Sweetness.
This. You remember when Pink was in? I had the pink gear. Remember who was it? Ricky
Like Brock
Johnson?
Glover style, yeah.
Brock Glover. That's who it was. Brock Glover. My man, Brock Glover. Hey, but look here. Let me show you now. Don't look at the years.
No, okay. Well, you already said it's an 85 motorcycle, so look at that.
NMA 1984. Moto love, bro.
That is
Moto
awesome.
love.
And you gave it the top floor of the garage. I respect that.
Oh, hell yeah. The cars are cool, but the motorcycle is the king of the crown up here,
There you go.
It's got its own deck up here, man. I made for that.
This is awesome. Well, hey, this is even more than we expected. I didn't expect it. I was just going to break down a race. I didn't expect a house tour. So thanks for the bonus time. We appreciate you coming on. And I guess we'll see you at more races, maybe at Daytona.
We'll be at Daytona, man. And I appreciate you guys. Appreciate all the hospitality, all the guys out there, all moto love. And just, good luck to everybody. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Robbie.
All right, man. Be good. See you guys soon.
Time for my favorite part of the show. It's the 30-second board weege, and we start with the heroes, the real heroes of Supercross.
Yes, that's right. The truck drivers who have to make their way, because Oakland was rescheduled, from Florida back to California. Then we go to Dallas, and then back to Florida for Daytona. So everyone, and that includes the team truck drivers, but also all the trucks involved in producing Monster Energy Supercross and our television show, they've got a long haul, literally, in front of them.
Yeah, a little inconvenience for some of us with our airplane tickets, but for the truck drivers and some of the crew, like, they've got to cross this country and get ready to go to battle in Oakland. And Greatly appreciated. And those are the unsung heroes that we don't ever think about, but keep this whole thing going.
Yeah, so this is cool for two reasons. First of all, a great shout out to the large group of females that help run this sport behind the scenes. And then specifically those who were picked to be on the panel from Fell Motorsports. We had Michelle Lewis, Katarina Kazmarek, and Sam Nicolini from MX Sports, and Stephanie Nutt, who we know doing public relations for Red Bull KTM. That's really great for them to be recognized. But also the audience, this is sports and events folks from throughout the Southeast and the Tampa Bay area. So anytime you get Supercross in a grouping of mainstream sports and events people, that's a nice boost for the sport. So thanks, ladies. But probably the biggest story outside of the racing at Tampa, it's military appreciation. And you were telling me before we even shot this, you geek out on all this stuff.
Total nerd. I mean, I'm like a child. St. Jude, military appreciation. I walk the pits. I look at every bike, the gear combinations, and that's just something I haven't been able to grow out of, Jason. You would think that at 40 years old, I'd be into other things, but no. Track maps and graphics and gear, I just can't change who I am. I nerd out, and I will say, Honda, congratulations. From my take, you guys won it. I thought Hunter's bike and Chance's bike and Chase's bike won the day. I don't know about you, Jason, but they were my winners.
You're just biased because any excuse to have Chase Sexton in the blue boots. You love the blue boots like he had at Anaheim too.
I love the blue boots. I love the blue boots, and so yeah. So any type of theme that allows those to come out, I'm here for it. I'm also here for the sand, Jason. Look, as a racer, hate it more than anything in this world. It's terrible. But as a fan, I mean, being down there and seeing the way it developed and how the riders were using it, I mean, it came into play. Sexton had a big issue in the sand late. Hunter's pass on Thrasher late. The sand played a role in a positive, and I like the way they use it this week. Tampa seems to be the track where they really understand how to do the sand right. But as a racer, terrible. As a fan and a commentator, here for it.
Yes, Aaron Plessinger made his feelings known. He gestured toward the sand when he fell down in practice. But you can't get any more than we had two different lines in the sand on the last lap of the 250 race. The critical juncture of the race came down to two different lines in the sand. That almost never happens. So yeah, sorry, boys. I'm going to vote for more of that. Let's go to our hot and not. I think it's pretty obvious who's hot. Cooper Webb. I was worried after Houston. He got yarded. They pulled away from him. He had nothing speed-wise for the front runners. He's back, everybody. He's back.
I was concerned after the heat race. He was just irrelevant. It didn't look great. The starts haven't really been that good either. If you think about his starts, they've been kind of bad. But then the main event, he gets a second place start, and I'm thinking, well, perfect position to get second to Sexton. That's honestly what I thought, because Chase has just had so much more raw speed than him. So I'm thinking Chase is going to check. And then Webb just sits there and even loses time and then gains it back. And the big thing for me, Jason, was the whoops. I've been watching him closely. Not every track has had a whoop section that really exposes the truth behind the motorcycle and the rider. But this whoop section was really, really tough, and he looked as good as anybody, especially late. I will make note that there's people out there that are saying, oh, that there was a favor done for Cooper Webb. They cut the whoop short. I did my research. That's not true. There was 14 whoops. They took one out before qualifying. They took one more out after because they didn't like the speed coming into a corner where they were going into a wall. I think after Cody's shock, maybe they were just a little spooked. We didn't want anyone ripping into a wall. But no, so Cooper Webb did not get a favor. Go watch the race back. He rips through those whoops every lap except for one. And I think that's the key to his success in Tampa. He was not at a deficiency in the section that usually costs him.
Along the same lines as Webb, look, Aaron Plessinger, I think it's been their podium speed the whole time, but to see two of these KTMs on the podium in the same night, that's pretty big for them. And I just think this was a matter of time. Plessinger's been riding awesome.
Yeah, it's very easy to see if Plessinger is going to have a good night or a bad night. And it's a physical trait with him. When he is aggressive and he is pushing and actually like giving it everything he has on the motorcycle, that means he's comfortable and he's probably going to be really good that night, which he was. And all year he's looked that way. He's been pushing since Anaheim 1. He just hasn't got a start. I think the confidence was maybe halfway there. It's all the way there now. The question is, can he keep it going? Because, Jason, we've seen him have these results in the past, and then usually there's a fall off or a crash or something. Just keep going, AP, because when he's good, it's good. And there's no comfort issues there. He looks incredible. Speaking of comfort, it looks like the Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing 250 boys are pretty comfortable. Jordan Smith had a bad one. He still looked good on the bike, but had some issues. But Hayden Deegan, Nate Thrasher, They have to be feeling better about the way things kicked off the East, because the West started out a little quiet, but then came a win. So maybe the East boys are just a step up on the West, but I'm happy with what I've seen.
So next on this list, I mean, we could just put them on the list every week. The Lawrence brothers. They've won all but one race in the 250 class this year between Jet and Hunter, and they're the points leaders in both divisions. First time brothers have ever both held red plates at the same time.
Who's better?
Oh!
Hey, look. Jet obviously gets the nod. He's 3 championships straight. He's been visually enjoyable to watch. But is he better than Hunter? I mean, honestly, Hunter is, well, his start was kind of bad. I'll give him that. He had a bad start. Other than that, though, he looks perfect. He looks polished. Talked to Justin Brayton yesterday. He said he sees not a weakness in sight. And he's got the clutch gene. We just saw that. He has the clutch gene on the last lap. So I'm just asking the question, which one's better, Jay? I mean, we're going to find out in East Rutherford. It's a long way from now, but who's better?
You know what's interesting? I know Jet is younger, so you think his ceiling is higher. He has the most room to grow. But when you talk to people that know Hunter well, he's such a student. He's such a master of the craft of going about his business and getting a little bit better every day. I think we all know Jet's a little more of a loose program than that. There's a lot of people that think, give Hunter enough time and he will figure out anything he needs to figure out. He's such a tactician, kind of like a Cooper Webb. He'll figure out a way to get it done. So don't assume just because Jet's younger, he's going to pull away from his brother. Yeah, that's going to be really good, East Rutherford, if the Lawrences are both carrying red plates. And what if they really need the points and they really have to beat each other? That'd be spectacular.
And what if they don't have to look out for the other one's situation and they both just get to go for it?
Yeah.
Here for that, too.
Okay, let's go to the not list. And it's my job to talk on this show, but I do not know what to say about Eli Tomac. What was that?
I don't know.
You neither. I don't know what to say.
I don't have an idea because he didn't look bad, but he didn't look good. And that's not normal. Usually he is like incredible, or we're like, whoa, that was a weirdo night. And I didn't feel like that was a weirdo night as much as that was what was that night? And he was just irrelevant in the heat and the main event. But he's got the points lead. It's just one race. So I think you'll be the same. I'm going to give him a pass. But at the same time, I got a giant question mark above my head right now, and I don't know what the answer is until maybe Oakland Saturday night, because that was weird.
Next on our list, Jason Anderson says the right things. Here's his explanation of all these rough riding incidents when he was asked about it at Houston going into Tampa.
It's on me for getting caught up in a lot of the BS that I get caught up in, and that's something that I just got to take responsibility for. But I really just want to do my best and try and grow and avoid that. So it's I'm going to try my best, and I want to change that aspect of me.
He takes responsibility. It's one of the things he wants to change about himself. And the very first lap of the next race main event, what happens, Daniel?
I know this is going to be a terrible comparison, but I got to do it. But it reminds me of like my son when he was a little kid, and he would say, "I'm sorry, I won't do that ever again." And then the very next day does the exact same thing. I mean, I hate the comparison, but it's real. He said all the right things in the press conference, got to avoid that stuff. And then the very next night, you go and get yourself into more of a mess with the same guy who's caused all your messes. I'm thinking of Anaheim 1 last year. I'm thinking of Indy last year. It's like it doesn't stop, and it's just those two. And Jason could be within maybe 10 points of this championship right now, which would be dangerous because he looks good on the bike. But for whatever reason, Jason, another big giant question mark above my head. I have no idea why this keeps happening, especially from a guy who literally said, I got to be better at that. And then he goes right in the next week and does it again. Like right in the first lap. I don't get it.
And two other notes on this. First of all, because of the rough riding incident, he has actually been given 6-month probation by the AMA, Anderson. And I know you're thinking, but it's Barcia. Barcia was 100% innocent. Barcia did nothing wrong in this. And later, Anderson passed Barcia back, and Barcia didn't try to get revenge. Barcia, for his part, for once, completely stayed out of the drama. This is all on Anderson. Now he's got to deal with the probation. And with the way he rides, he's got to be careful. No other incidents like this for the rest of the year because you're on probation. Nope. Good luck with that.
I'm taking the other side. The AMA should have given him this probation before the season started, because if they would have started with him on probation, he would probably have 10 more points right now. So the AMA is actually looking out for him. If he looks at it that way, he'll realize they're actually doing him a favor. They just should have done it before the season started.
The headline for Mosiman is probably he got knocked down by Hunter Lawrence. We could talk about the rough riding incident there. But to me, that's incidental. The real problem for Mosiman is he is not as fast as he was last year. That's the problem.
And it doesn't really make sense to me. I don't see what the drop-off would be from. I thought last year was pretty inspiring. He wins the 250 Supercross. And to your point, the speed has never been the question. That guy can move. By Arlington, I know it's a short turnaround. You better have the speed again, because that was the one thing keeping you in this thing. And if that's gone, how relevant really are you in this 250 East class? So for Michael Mosiman, get it right. Arlington's coming quick, and that speed better be back by the time we get to Dallas.
All 31 SuperMotocross World Championship events can be streamed domestically. That's here in the U.S. on Peacock. So to subscribe, go to peacocktv.com/sports/SuperMotocross.
And for the fans of Super Motocross, they'll have a chance to watch it all year long on Peacock, NBC, and USA Network.
And for the international fans, you can join in the fun by getting the Super Motocross Video Pass. Go to supermotocross.tv to purchase access to every moment of the 2023 Supercross season, the Pro Motocross season, and of course Super Motocross live events in one place. Plus, get over 800 plus hours of archived races.
So now welcome to Fowler's Facts. We bring in our stat man, Clinton Fowler, to make myself and Daniel sound a little bit smarter. And we really need you this week, Clinton, because Eli Tomac, we are completely mystified as to what happened to him in both his heat race and the main. Anything in the data indicate anything that you can help us with here?
I mean, it maybe, but I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those mysteries here. But it definitely looks like this week we've got a diverging paths of Tomac and Webb. Last week, we're sitting at the end of Houston, and it's the other way around. Tomac has an amazing ride, Webb doesn't. This week, it's Webb has an amazing ride. Tomac has a question mark, if you will. Here's what I saw, and I think the big point, Weege, is between qualifying and the night program was a big shift. And I can't explain it other than I can see in the lap times a very different story. So in qualifying, he was the third fastest rider, and he set the third fastest lap. In the night program, he was the sixth fastest in the heat, and he only set the 12th fastest lap. And then in the main, he was the fifth fastest rider and set the 15th fastest lap. And the key point here, it's the first time that Tomac all year in the main hasn't set a lap time in the top 10 of all laps. So clearly was off his game come the night program. What I don't know is why, right? You could say it rained and maybe he didn't feel comfortable in the rain coming, but it didn't seem like that would be enough, and nobody else's lap times had that. So I don't think it's the rain. I don't know. But I did go back and look at his 2017 East Rutherford race to see if I could get any clues. And you could definitely see in that where when he had crashed, he dropped from first all the way back to 15th, and his lap times all of a sudden were 2 to 3 seconds slower. I went back to another race similar to Arlington 2019, pretty recent. He was leading that race and crashed, tucked the front wheel, dropped back to 7th, and his lap times dropped off. But those were mid-race. Those were because of crashes, so there was a reason at least we could understand. I can't tell you what it was that changed in those lap times, Jason.
Daniel, do you have anything? That's the data. Do you have anything? We've already said we're kind of speechless. This didn't feel exactly like those weird Eli races of the past either. It wasn't terrible.
No, I'm the heart guy. Remember, Clinton's the stats. He's the head. He's the think. I'm just heart, and my heart doesn't understand what happened either. I have no clue, Jason, why. And Clinton's point is great. In those races, he had an issue which would cause a drop off. There was no issue here other than just it was the drop off started before the gate drop. So I don't know if something was going on, if it was with his mood, maybe the pressure of RC and James being in the building talking about the record because he don't like records. Something went wrong there. But back to the head and heart thing, Clinton. I'm all heart. You're all head. Is there anything in your data, anything in your facts that would have told you that Cooper Webb was going to do what he did? Because I think other than someone's heart being all in, there was no evidence to support Cooper Webb doing what he did in that main event. None.
Yeah, I mean, what a performance by Cooper. He, finally got that that win after 20 plus rounds of not having a win from his championship season in 2021. But there really wasn't any indication that he was going to have that breakout ride in the main event. And it sure did seem like Chase Sexton, it was his night. But when you look at the times, the amazing one, the things that stick out for me, you're talking about, head and heart, Daniel. Heat race, he goes out, he finishes 6th in his heat race, which is just an abysmal finish for Cooper. He's the 9th fastest rider overall during the heats, and he only sets the 35th fastest lap of the night. Just zero indication. The stats, the numbers, they don't tell you that he's going to go out, be the 3rd fastest rider, set the 4th fastest lap. He also was 2nd fastest in the whoops. I think that's a really important point. The KTM is clearly working in the whoops now. He was fastest in the sand, which just, I did not expect to see that in the data. And he was the 2nd fastest overall average lap time. So Cooper had, to me, an incredible main event. The exact opposite of Eli Tomac in many ways, where it didn't look like from his qualifying to his heats that he was going to have a great night. But then he goes out and he does what Cooper Webb does. He never gives up, and he shows up and he wins the main event at the end of the race, putting pressure on Chase Sexton, and I don't know, just incredible. So yeah, there you go, Daniel. The head can't really tell you what was coming.
Well, so I think it's pretty obvious that Cooper Webb is confusing, but that's been the case for a long time, Clinton. Jason, when it comes to Eli Tomac, if it was just an odd day, don't you feel like we would have known that from qualifying? I mean, it feels like something happened in between qualifying and the heat race that mixed things up, because the qualifying was normal.
Yeah, my first thought was, oh, what if he has an injury? Let's say he got hurt his ankle or something on Tuesday riding at home. We know the team's not going to reveal that. They hit a knee injury for several weeks last year, but then he would have ridden badly in qualifying. So I'm totally mystified. He tripped walking up to the motorhome. Or to your point, maybe it was just the pressure of the night for whatever reason. He looked out of sorts even when Will Christian interviewed him before the night show. I don't know what happened. I got some good news if you're a Tomac fan. Webb went from 5th to 1st in a 2-week span, so maybe Tomac does that going to Oakland. We will have a little more with Clinton Fowler. Stay tuned to this YouTube channel, and we'll give you SMX Insiders Extra. We'll go into the closest Supercross finishes in history using Clinton's data. Hint, the 250 main from Tampa is on that list. All right, thanks, Clinton. See you in Oakland. All right, everyone, we are headed to Oakland. Just like this race was originally scheduled to be a few weeks ago, they're actually running a West Coast event on East Coast time. So you look at the how to watch. Race Day Live will start at 2:30 Eastern, and the night show will start at 8 Eastern. That's 5 o'clock out in California. So remember that. Stick with the East Coast time schedule, even though we're on the West. 8 p.m. Eastern. That's a great time slot for the sport. And we're almost done with the show, Daniel, but not quite. One last chance. 250 LCQ, as good as it gets down to the wire, as always.
Watch Simonson going to go to the inside. Nope, Welton blocks, plays defense. Look at it. Boom! Knocks him off the track. Perfectly executed by Simonson, and he gets it.
Oh, boy!
Oh!
Well, Jason, that was the appetizer for the Hunter Lawrence main course in the 250 main event. Now, that one was a little more physical, but man, those LCQs, I'm telling you what, the rule book goes away for the last 30 seconds of an LCQ, and we had a good one there. Jason, final thoughts, though, just as we head to Oakland and this story continues.
Yeah, so this is such a pivotal round. I feel like I say that every darn week, but we have to see if Eli Tomac can bounce back. Was that a one-race bad one? And you give an opening to Cooper Webb, and everybody else on the line knows this. You give him any oxygen, you're going to have to contend with him for the rest of the year.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Eli and Chase. Don't do it. You guys need to keep him out of this thing. Do not let that guy stay in range, because you saw what he does late. So I'm excited, and I'm with you too. Can Tomac bounce back? Can Webb do it again? And can Chase Sexton, for the love of, can you just close down one of these 20+ ones, because you're getting heat from the broadcast. We're all over you. We see a pattern. You need to correct the pattern in Oakland, bro.
Yeah. Sorry, Chase. You've been cast as the tragic hero. Central Casting said, this is your lot in life. You're in between two champions. You're the heartbreaker. We'll see you in Oakland, everybody. This is just really getting started in terms of the Monster Energy Supercross Championship. Thanks for watching.